I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Imagine being able to stream every curling game from every sheet from any event, be it your Wednesday league game, bonspiel, or corporate event. Curling Stadium offers an all-inclusive streaming solution featuring high-quality cameras, ease of use, great reliability, and minimal installation. Offering your sponsors customizable ad space on your streamed curling games and being able to sell video packages to your corporate events for increased revenue. With Curling Stadium, you can stream to any device, be it your mobile phone, tablet, or computer. Push the feed to your desired platform, be it Facebook, YouTube, or any other social media. Curling Stadium is simply the way forward. Where it's commonplace in other sports to televise every game, we want to do the same. Curling is a global sport, and it's time it gets the coverage it needs. Make your curling club the next Curling Stadium.
You got one, you got two,
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Curling Alberta's 50/50 supports grassroots curling with a jackpot of at least $100,000. I know! Brace yourself. Join us aged 18 plus in nurturing these future curling stars. Support grassroots curling with Curling Alberta.
It is a chilly day here in Leduc, Alberta, as we enter our final draw of the regular round robin play here on a glorious Sunday at the 2025 Curling Alberta Optimist U18 Provincial Championships, brought to you by Curling Stadium, either through Curling Alberta's YouTube page or through Curling Zone. My name is Evan Asmussen, and I am joined again by the wonderful Kaylee, Raniseth, and Kate Ector here as we bring you our feature game on the ladies' side of this championship between Team McMillan and Team Wyatt. Now, both of these teams are in their final game of play, and today is the day where all of this hard work and determination starts to finally come down to the wire, as our playoff teams will be determined after this draw. Now, Kaylee and Kate, we had the opportunity to watch throughout yesterday and watch our games over the course of the week. And through incredible competition, we have Team Wyatt sitting at a record of 4-2. And we have Team McMillan sitting at a record of 1-5. We recognize that for some of these teams, it's their last opportunity to get on the ice for this championship, like in Team McMillan. And as with Team Wyatt, they are looking to secure some kind of a place in that 14-page playoff. Talk to us a little bit about McMillan's week, Kaylee, and talk to us a little bit about how they might approach this game today, recognizing that Wyatt is vying for a playoff spot after this draw.
Yeah, so just with McMillan, they're probably settling in, recognizing that this is their last round robin game here at the Provincials, trying to get as much experience as possible. They're probably going to play a pretty clean try for keeping a close game, putting a lot of pressure on Team Wyatt and forcing them to make the bigger shots rather than Wyatt forcing McMillan to make those bigger shots.
Now, Kate, we all know that anything can change here at the U18 Provincial Championship, and we know that every rock, every minute, and every stone matters here. Team Wyatt looking to maintain their position going into the playoffs, but upsets can be a brewing not just on this sheet, but across the venue today as well. So talk to us a little bit about Team Wyatt and how they might approach this game against Team McMillan, still looking for a good spot into that page playoff. We welcome all of our fans and viewers, whether you're watching it live right now or whether you're going to come back and take a look at it after the recording has happened. As you can see on our presenting screen, we have Team Wyatt throwing the red stones and Team McMillan throwing the yellow stones, and Team McMillan starting off this first end with the hammer. Let me take an opportunity to introduce our teams to you today. Team McMillan, skipped by Darby McMillan, third Charlie McMillan, Kendall Ferguson throwing the second stones, and Victoria Greenhow at lead. With the coach's support of Tom Kitagawa, they represented and represent Wainwright and Sherwood Park Curling Club, sitting at a 1-5 record and a wonderful showing this week at their provincial championship. Throwing the red stones is Team Wyatt, and we have Sierra Wyatt at skip, Sophia Basello at third, Kira Buckland, Cassie Walgenbach, and we have Tim Wyatt as their coach. They are representing the Lacombe Curling Club. They're currently sitting at a 4-2 record, and first end of play underway as we have two red stones of Team Wyatt just here in the forefoot, and game is already on. So Kaylee and Kate, yesterday we had the opportunity to watch a different draw and a different game, but we recognize that some of the starts of these games have been a little slow and steady as the ice conditions still seem to pose a challenge for our teams early on, but we can see that McMillan and Wyatt very comfortable in this first end. here at Buckland with an opportunity to remove this Yellowstone of Team McMillan just out into the 8-foot, trying to get a little inside roll to the side of the button and maintain that pressure, sitting 2 rocks here at the house. And to start our 7th draw, final round robin game. Now, for those of our viewers who are just tuning in and who haven't been following along all week, this is an 8-team, 7-game round robin with a 14-page playoff system. So after the round robin game, this draw, our teams will be ranked or seeded going into the page playoff. And our top 4 teams will then be allocated into positions as they are setting up their championship Monday, not Championship Sunday. That is today, Championship Monday, which is a little unique to this tournament or this bonspiel this week. As well, for those people who have been tuning in throughout the week or who are unfamiliar with our U18 Provincial Championship, you can sense that there is a ton of action going on either side of our feature sheet today. We have all 8 ladies teams playing, and we also have all 8 men's teams playing too as well. And 2 champions will be crowned on Monday, 1 provincial champion and another berth spot on both sides that will allocate 2 Alberta teams to head off to the Optimist National Championship too as well. So great opportunity for 2 teams to secure their spot after this weekend into some more competitive play. Getting our first look at Sophia Basello with a centerline draw just to the tight zone of the rings, covering her rock at the back of the house. And Darby McMillan electing to change pace here and ask Charlie to just draw around that guard that was just thrown. Just rubbing the center line guard, rolling into the top of the forfeit, leaving her shooter zone open, and an opportunity for Team Wyatt to make this hit and roll and to apply a little bit of early pressure on Team McMillan with the hammer. Now, Kate, you've been watching all week just as well as I have, and we've had an opportunity to watch these ladies play across the sheets, and it's safe to say that as the week has gone on, these more challenging hit and rolls and complex doubles have been made more consistently as these teams have become familiar with our surface and our curling environment. So now, just being a little observant here, Kaylee and Kate, I am noticing that Team Wyatt is, at the time, only having 3 players on the sheet. Now, I can't remember if they started with 4 or not, but just in that last sweep there, we had only 3 members on the sheet, and now we don't have the full scope of what's going on, but that's something that we're definitely going to have to pay attention to here as the game unfolds. So if my eyes are playing me right, which sometimes they don't, it looks to me like it is Cassie Walgenbach who is currently not on the sheet. as Sierra Wyatt gets up and sweeps her own stone to help support Kira Buckland in the front end. And a wonderful draw here to the top of the forefoot, perfectly buried, and well-managed stone with just those 3 players too as well. So this is kind of the pickle that some of our athletes and some of our teams have found themselves in, getting a little bit aggressive early on in their play. And Kaylee and Kate, you mentioned at the start of our broadcast today about the confidence and the consistency that some of these teams have found, but changing that strategy early on or starting the game with a more aggressive tactic has led to some big scores going up on the board, or some first-hand challenges for those teams with the hammer, just like we see Team McMillan here drawing against 2 red Wyatt stones so far. Now, when thinking about that, and when thinking about that confidence and that consistency too as well, as we see Darby McMillan throw her first stone here, what are some of the key shots or key management tips that these teams are going to have to carry forward with to make it through these next 8 ends?
I think some of the keys is just making sure that you're playing the easier shot and you're forcing your opponent to play the harder shot. With this being said, also making sure that not too many rocks are getting in the ring so that you don't have those big ends come up and creep up on you. So making sure that when they are in trouble, they're bailing early enough to help themselves and save the end.
So Darby McMillan just slipping a little deep on her draw attempt to the top of that red zone, finding herself at the back of the 12-foot. And Team Wyatt with an opportunity to draw around the center line one more time and really narrow down the scoring area, as we see our first coach's timeout or coach's interaction by Tim Wyatt for Team Wyatt. Now, Kate and Kaylee, for those of our spectators who are just tuning in or who are unsure of the process, at the U18 Provincial Championship, you'll recognize that we have both coaches for both teams sitting at the back of the sheet. And once an end, our teams are able to interact with their coach. And we see Team Wyatt taking one here. How important is that role for both Tom Kitagawa and Tim Wyatt today in this final round-robin game? Sierra Wyatt with her final stone here in end number 1, looking to apply some early pressure to Darby McMillan. She's looking to close down and narrow down that scoring area. Sweepers, like the speed so far, trying to get a little bit of extra curl out of it and a little bit of extra coverage. It does chip off that rock at the top of the forefoot and finds itself at the back of the button. So Kaylee, not out of the woods yet for Darby McMillan and Team McMillan here as they face 3 red stones, but an opportunity to get her draw weight here early on in the game.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity, especially just after practice. Hopefully she has a good feel for the draw weight, but also after this draw, she will have a good feel for the rest of the game, which is super great.
Final stone for Darby McMillan here in end number 1 of play at draw 7 of our Provincial Championship. Sweepers are working hard to maintain the line. And it just looks like it overcurls a little bit, tapping that red stone and it does roll to the top of the forefoot, but not enough, and it looks like it is a steal of 2 for Team Wyatt here, and an early advantage for Team Wyatt as they take a 2-0 lead going into the second end. We will be back after commercial break.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline, join the revolution.
Curling Alberta's 50-50 supports grassroots curling with a jackpot of at least $100,000. I know! Brace yourself. Join us aged 18 plus in nurturing these future curling stars. Support grassroots curling with Curling Alberta.
We welcome you back to our second end of play here at the 2025 Curling Alberta Optimist U18 Provincial Championship. And I do want to apologize and make a quick correction here. Team Wyatt is currently sitting at a 2-4 record, not a 4-2 record. So both of these teams are playing their final round robin game, as our playoffs are already at least established in which teams on the ladies' side will be entering. What position they will be in that page playoff bracket will be determined after this draw. However, you can catch some of those other games going on here at Curling Alberta's YouTube channel or through Curling Stadium and Curling Zone, or you can take a look for those scores at curlingalberta.ca/competitions/follow the score. Now, an early 2-0 lead for Wyatt, an opportunity for Darby McMillan to get her draw weight down, and she had great weight. She just found a little bit of an extra set of curl on that one side, and Kaylee and Kate, we were commentating yesterday, and we noticed that there are some unique nuances or characteristics of the Leduc Curling Club. Talk to us a little bit about some of those aspects of the sheet and something that the teams are going to have to be aware of today for the next 7 ends. It's an opportunity here for Team Wyatt to sit an early 2 points again, as Team McMillan is trying to generate some offense for themselves. And we're just missing that screen view, which is okay, but you will see that that yellow stone was removed and the red rock just holds on to the side of the 12-foot. So first stone for Kendall Ferguson in the second end, looking to remove that red stone out of play, maybe throwing a little bit narrow, but finding some curl and going right by that red stone. And again, an opportunity back to Team Wyatt to be able to put some more pressure and close down that scoring area. And Kate, we did notice this yesterday, that early on, as the ice was fresh, there were a lot of simple shots that were just missed either on the over curl, mostly on the over curl, but sometimes on the under curl in that adjustment. What are some of these teams going to have to do to catch on to some of these unique characteristics of the sheep? So Kendall Ferguson again with another attempt to remove this red stone. And I do like the adjustment that Darby has given her here, playing the out turn and potentially a straighter turn too as well. So again, caught in between as that Yellowstone just goes by that rock in the top of the 8-foot. So Team McMillan really having a difficult time either getting their broom in the right place or their rocks thrown at that broom and giving a good look for Darby to make some more accurate and precise adjustments with the line. And that's something that their coach Tom maybe is going to have a chat with them as they are able to have that conversation in the transition in between ends or in a coach's interaction too as well. So Kaylee, if you're Team Wyatt, you're probably licking your lips right now. Life is pretty good as there's just been a couple of back-to-back misses out of Team McMillan. But they still have an opportunity to be precise and to apply some pressure. What would you like to see out of Team Wyatt here as they look to take advantage of some of those errors coming out of Team McMillan?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to watch for is just making sure that they are continuing making their shots to the best of their abilities, making sure that their rocks are actually above the tee line so that they're not giving Team McMillan a way out of it to where they can freeze onto those rocks. So making sure those rocks are behind or in front of the tee line and putting them in good spots around the 4-foot in that control zone. So the top of the house, above the tee line, top 4, top 8 even.
So we'll see our first coach's interaction by Tom Kitagawa as he has a conversation with Darby McMillan as they shape up the last few stones of end number 2. Now, the U18 Provincial Championship does have some unique characteristics to it. There are 34 minutes of thinking time for both teams, and the 5-rock rule is in play as well as the no-tick rule too. Now, of course, those are consistent rules that we see at the World Curling Federation level and in all of our major championships so far. But that 34 minutes of thinking time does come into play for these teams a little bit, as we did see a team early on in the event run out of time. And so some of those longer conversations can be managed a little bit with those coaches too as well. Rather than the teams consuming a lot of their time, they're able to have the clock and have that interaction with their coach. And it just gives them a little bit of ease on some of the other pressures of the game. So Darby McMillan I think that was Charlie McMillan, unable to hold her shooter, but removes one red stone. And Team Wyatt looking to give those stones at the top of the house and on the tee line, a good chance at putting some pressure on Team McMillan, if not even have another opportunity to steal. So Sophia Basello with her final stone here in end number 2 just chisels off that top rock at the top of the 12. And now my eyes are helping me out a little bit. Our 3-person lineup for Team Wyatt is Cassie Walgenbach. We do have Sophia Basello, and we have Sierra Wyatt on the sheet for Team Wyatt, as they are down to 3 players for today. So Charlie McMillan just missing that red stone at the top of the 4-foot, finding a little bit of a straighter path. And again, challenges right now early on for Team McMillan, getting the broom in the right spot, or understanding the paths, or maybe a little bit of technical work too as well. Now, these weeks are super long. Talk to us a little bit, Kate, about how these long weeks do play on some of these athletes, for the good and for the bad. So Sierra Wyatt drawing to the side of the button, just chiseling off that one at the top of the 4. And in a great position. It doesn't look like there's a really great double and roll or opportunity to remove too many stones out of play, but that 4-foot is congested. And Darby McMillan is going to have to find a way to open up that 4-foot scoring area if she's going to want to get a point on the board here. Looking to rearrange those stones in the 4-foot, Darby McMillan with Victoria and Kendall on the brush. Trying to hold the line here. So able to make contact with the stone at the top of the 4-foot. Not quite the double, not quite the triple, as the shooter stone catches the top of that red stone on the over curl at the side of the button. Able to move all 3 stones and really open up the scoring area. A wonderful shot by Darby McMillan. And that's what you want to see too as well. You know, we saw Charlie McMillan and Kendall Ferguson make a few errors early on in the middle of this end. And but it's all learning. opportunity too as well, and the best teams will be able to take that information and translate it into another made shot, and it looks like Darby did just that, able to take some of the information from Kendall and from Charlie, be able to get a really great make out of her own stone, and that's what our teams are doing. That's what our best teams are doing here this week. Sierra Wyatt with her final stone here in end number 2. Cassie Welgenbach just trying to guide that stone into a position to block off the button. It does come short of the rings, a little bit shorter than what they wanted at top 12. But it is a rock in play for Team Wyatt as they look to make that draw to the button more challenging for Darby McMillan in her final stone. Darby McMillan electing to draw for a single point here. These are full team shots, aren't they, Kaylee?
Yeah, they sure are. Every draw, every precise hit and roll, they are all team shots. And so making sure that the line caller knows the line, can call before the break point, the thrower throws close to the right weight, and then the sweeper's really toning in on the weight, making sure that it gets there.
Greenough and Ferguson on the sweep as Darby McMillan throws her final stone in the second end, looking to score a single point, drawing against potentially 3 stones with a little bit of backing at the back of the 8-foot. Sweepers really like the weight so far, just guiding this in, trying to get a little bit of last-minute finish to capture more of that 8-foot. No worries, no doubts. McMillan able to put a single point up on the board. We do have a 2-1 lead for Team Wyatt. They will get back the hammer here in end number 3, and we will catch you after the commercial break at our U18 Provincial Championship.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
We welcome you back to third end action here in our feature game between Darby McMillan and Sierra Wyatt, our team out of the Wainwright and Sherwood Park Curling Club, taking on our team from the Lacombe Curling Club. My name is Evan Asmussen. I am joined by Kaylee Raniseth and Kate Ector, and we do have some points on the board. Our game has been very entertaining so far. Darby McMillan being able to settle her team in after a 2-point steal on the first end by Team Wyatt. And game on, Kaylee and Kate. What are you seeing from our team so far as they've settled in? So Team Wyatt coming into the house with their first stone by Cassie Walgenbach, and Team McMillan electing to hit it, rolling over to the side of the 4-foot, and an open end of play here in the third end. Kaylee, talk to us a little bit about our 8 ends of play. Unlike some of our adult play that we see, more like the slam events with these 8 ends, scoreboard management does become a factor as these teams are managing their hammers.
Yeah, it really does. You do want to end up taking hammer in those even ends. So going into the 4th end, the 6th end with that hammer kind of sets you up for good success, kind of forcing you to have a hammer, hopefully in 8. It also comes into play too a little bit at the beginning. Just if you do get down early, you're going to play with more rocks in play. You're going to need to force those teams into the tougher shots, as well as if you get a big lead early on, you have to be able to maintain it throughout all 8 ends. So just making sure that there's less rocks in play, you're keeping it a clean end just to force your opponents kind of into some less rocks in play.
So Team Wyatt recognizing their position on the scoreboard, being up 1 point, but also recognizing too as well that it is the 3rd end. They seem to be okay with playing a clean end here as they look to retain the hammer, or to be able to maybe get a skips deuce or a soft deuce, as we might call it, out of Team McMillan. Now for our viewers at home, or for our viewers who are going to join in after the broadcast, the hammer is not determined before the game. It is determined after pregame practice from a draw to the button. And so these teams do have to earn the right not only to have the hammer, but also to have that early, I guess, theoretical advantage with the scoreboard. So no consequence for giving up that deuce early for Team McMillan. It is an open end here, but the score is within 1 point, and anything can happen when the score is this close, can't it? So Sophia Basello being asked to remove this yellow rock out of play, and just missing the yellow stone as Cassie was trying to get that curl sweep and a little bit of extra curl to finish to make contact. And so McMillan being able to apply some pressure here with a really great draw, or with the opportunity to split the rings. Charlie McMillan with her first stone here in end number 3, and looking to get a make under her belt. As we saw her have a couple of struggles in that last end with some hits, it's a really great opportunity for Charlie to get some confidence moving forward for the next 6 ends or 5 ends of play. And now, Kate, you know better than anybody else, too, as well, that it's not about the misses. It's all about what you do next and getting a little bit out of everything, right? So a great draw by Charlie McMillan to the back of the house, creating a ton of separation. And Sophia Basello being asked to hit that rock at the top of the 8 foot. does roll away, creating a little bit of distance. Was probably hoping to roll a little bit closer to that yellow stone to create a double opportunity and an opportunity for the blank. But nonetheless is still sitting shot rock after the stone. Charlie McMillan. Seaber's working to keep this straight. And there we go. That's the Charlie McMillan that we've seen throughout our week too as well. Some early errors in end number 2, but is able to come up with 2 successful shots. And that's got to feel good, doesn't it? So Team Wyatt is going to look to try to cluster their stones a little bit in the rings by making the hit and roll and get that shooter closer to that rock at the back of the 12-foot. So just a little bit of an over curl. It does hit what we'd call the low side of that rock across the face, and it rolls just to the side of the 12-foot, leaving the McMillan stone at the back of the 12-shot rock for the moment. So recognizing that their shot right now, I think with the broom going up, Charlie is planning on playing a hit on this red stone, I believe. Though I could be wrong. But there are a couple of options of thought here. Kate, walk us through what are those possibilities for Team McMillan? And we've seen a lot of this out of Darby McMillan this week, and their record, I think, doesn't really stand for some of the play that they've been able to generate throughout the week. Got an opportunity to be both on site and watch their games online. And Darby McMillan definitely has been able to capitalize and be able to pull her team out of some tricky situations. But nonetheless, their standing this week definitely doesn't represent some of the incredible play that they've been that they've been able to show for in each of their games. Sierra Wyatt trying to get rid of that yellow stone and to get her rock rolled over to the yellow stone at the back of the 12 and just rolls out, leaving Darby McMillan an opportunity to apply some pressure and make Wyatt look at 2 of her final stone. So just second guessing the path there. And what might Darby be noticing as she changed the broom for this draw?
She's probably recognizing some of the ice conditions, the curly side and the straight side, so where she has the broom a little bit more straight as we've seen throughout the other 2 ends, as well as maybe taking into account where her teammates have thrown. If they've already thrown that practicement, if the keepers know it, that could play into effect of where she throws as well.
Final stone for Darby McMillan here in end number 3 of our provincial championship. Final round robin game. Already sitting 1 shot stone at the back of the 12 and looking to complicate the end and get a force out of Team Wyatt. And a great team shot by Team McMillan. It does come to the top of the button, giving lots of opportunity for Team Wyatt to make the open hit, with lots of room to roll, but a Objective met for Team McMillan. Final stone here in our end 3 of our feature game. Trying to get a little bit of curl finish here to make contact and nose that rock. Rolls a little bit, but stays in for shot rock. Team Wyatt able to put a single point up on the board. It is a 3-1 lead for Team Wyatt going into the 4th end. We will be back with you after our commercial break.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
So you're a pizza person, but you're married to a wing person, and your kids are salad people? You can't pick your fam, but with over 50 menu items to choose from, you can make them all happy. Order today and enjoy Boston Pizza at home.
It is our 4th end of action on our Sunday Draw 7 final round robin game, our feature game of Team McMillan versus Team Wyatt. Team Wyatt having a 3-1 lead over Team McMillan. Team McMillan gets control of the hammer as we have our first stones from our leads here at the start of the end. Now, we talked about our event coming to a close for some of our teams after this draw, and our standings on the ladies' side hold just as such. Team DeZormo and Team DeSkiffert are currently sitting at a 5-1 record, and Team Cooey and Yurko at a 4-2 record. Those 4 teams have secured their spot into the page playoff format. It's just a matter after this draw of where they will be ranked. And so we will keep you informed of those scores across the sheets so that you don't need to click back and forth. But to finish off the event, we have Team Roa, Team Wyatt, both sitting at 2-4 record, looking to improve their records by 1 more win and get out of our event feeling that little bit of success. And Team McRiskin and Team McMillan as well with a 1-5 record. Maybe not the showing that they wanted to have, but walking away from our event this week with a ton of confidence, a ton of experience, and some great shots being made. And we see here as our teams have elected to bring play back into the rings, after this end will be the 4th end break, so the halfway mark. And Kaylee and Kate are joining me on the color commentary. We talked about managing these ends now. So if you are Team McMillan, you are down 2 points on the scoreboard. You do have the hammer, and it is an even end. What might they be trying to generate here for these next few stones?
I think for these next few stones, it will be a matter of putting them in the right spot, making sure that they're getting set up nicely, and then hoping for that boost at the end of the end. Getting a few points up on the scoreboard in an even end is great. And then it puts Wyatt with hammer into that 5th end, odd end. And then also just tying it up after halfway is nice. It gives them a little bit of boost of a confidence, and it will turn out good for the last half.
So Team McMillan electing to ignore that stone at the back of the rings. That was shot stone and throwing that corner guard. We just saw a wonderful hit and roll to the back of the forefoot by Team Wyatt. And you just talked about that momentum going back into the fourth end and at that halfway mark and that big break for these teams. Why might have McMillan chosen to ignore that red stone that was shot at the back of the four to throw that corner guard?
Well, because they do have hammer, that rock was behind the tee line. It isn't really a danger rock for them. They're able to draw around, sit on it to be shot. So more so thinking it's probably good to get two, putting up their corner guard so that they have an opportunity to hit and roll behind it, kind of forcing the play away from them.
So a double attempt just narrowly missed by Team McMillan. And Team Wyatt asking Sophia Basello to draw to the side of the house and keep those stones away from that corner guard thrown by Team McMillan. So if I was Team Wyatt here, I might be thinking and looking at that scoreboard and going, I'm up by 2. I'm sitting 1 at the back of the 8-foot, back 12-foot. Maybe I might peel that corner guard. But she's electing to throw to the side of the house here and bring another rock into play. Thoughts on that? Kendall Ferguson with her final stone in the fourth end, looking to move some granite and to create some space in the forefoot with this hit and potentially roll over to behind that corner guard. She does make contact, it jams, and is she able to hold the shooter? And she does. A wonderful shot out of Kendall Ferguson and Team McMillan. So we saw a jam at the back of the rings, but we did see McMillan be able to hold their shooter behind the corner. How good is that? So, a wonderful hit and roll thrown by Sophia Basello, and is able to hold her shooter over on the side of the 12-foot. Now lots of room for Charlie McMillan to get a rock in play here, but it looks like Darby is electing to play the open hit on that rock at the back of the 8-foot. So Charlie not happy with that throw coming out of her hand, throwing it a little bit wide and not making contact with the back red. Kaylee, we talked about playing to our teammates' strengths, and that throw is very reminiscent of Charlie McMillan in the second end too as well, as she made a couple of errors with those hits. Yet we saw her draw really well in our last end of play. Is that something that Darby might consider taking into conversation or even bringing into her shot selection with Charlie moving throughout the duration of the game?
Yeah, I'm sure there will be either a conversation or even Darby just thinking about what Charlie has thrown, what she's been better at. It'll also give Charlie an advantage a little bit to a little boost of confidence so that she is making some of those shots and she can really dial in on her draws that she's throwing good. And then hopefully later on, if she does have to throw a hit, she has that little bit of confidence to help her out.
So Sophia Basello drawing to the open side, lining up those red stones, and it looks like Charlie McMillan is being asked by Darby to throw that hit again, potentially make the double, if not, have an opportunity to make a hit and roll across the rings. A big sweep here to keep it straight as it looks like it's catching more curl. Does catch the inside part of that stone. It's rolling across the rings and just out of play. So Kate, if you are Team McMillan now, you're probably changing your thought process on not trying to get out of this with a deuce or even a blank, but trying to just find ways to score at this point. So we see Sarah Wyatt with her first stone here in the fourth end, getting up quickly to help Cassie Walgenbach with the sweep. Using some of her reserved energy, being able to skip while her two teammates there are pulling a little bit of extra duty, being down to 3 players. It does slide just to the back of the tee line. But Team Wyatt and the Redstones, for the moment, sitting 3 rocks in the rings. Darby McMillan with the double attempt here. She does make the double and roll to the center line, able to remove 2 stones out of play and sit shot stone for the time being. A great throw by Darby McMillan and a great team shot by Team McMillan with their first stone here at the end of the fourth end. So super important for Sierra Wyatt to make sure that she not only makes contact with this yellow stone, but also keeps her shooter in play if she wants to force Team McMillan. The straight sweep being called and then calling off, trying to get a little bit of finish. Is able to make the hit, trying to roll it behind that corner guard. Just doesn't have enough momentum. but brings that corner guard into play as Team Wyatt sits 2, with Darby McMillan throwing her final stone. McMillan with the hit attempt here, looking to score her single point. Sweepers are on this early to hold it straight as it's coming across that center line side. Hitting the inside part of the rock. It does catch on that stone at the side of the 12-foot, but sits just in time for a single point. And McMillan will score and put themselves at 2 points on the board. Wyatt takes a 3-2 lead with the hammer coming out of the fourth end break. We'll see you back here after our commercials.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
For over 20 years, the Sandra Schmirler Foundation has granted more than $9 million to hospitals across Canada for life-saving equipment for premature and critically ill babies. In the past 4 years alone, $4 million has been granted thanks to the curling community's incredible generosity. The need continues year-round, and with your help, we can ensure every baby has the chance to grow up and become a champion, just like Sandra.
Just one more throw, please.
You make moments like these possible.
Curling Alberta's 50-50 supports grassroots curling with a jackpot of at least $100,000. I know! Brace yourself. Join us aged 18 plus in nurturing these future curling stars. Support grassroots curling with Curling Alberta.
We welcome you back as our teams are continuing on with their fourth end break here at the halfway point of our feature game between Team McMillan and Team Wyatt. Team Wyatt currently with a 1-point lead over Team McMillan, 3-2 on the scoreboard. Wyatt will retain the hammer in the fifth end, and a ton of exciting action going on across our sheets today, and some key matches as our teams look forward to the Page playoff beginning this evening at 5 p.m. Mountain Time. And I'll give you a quick update on some of those scores so you don't have to go clicking through them. You can stay here with us as our teams just finish up their conversations with their coaches. So across the sheets, on sheet A, we have our current game of Sierra Wyatt taking on Darby McMillan. That's a 3-2 lead for Team Wyatt. On sheet B, we have De Skiffert versus Team Yurko as they both look to establish their final placement for the Page playoffs. We have them both at a tie game playing the fourth end, 2 points apiece. On sheet C, we have Team Cooey versus Team Desarmo. Team Desarmo has a small 2-1 lead over Team Lila Cooey as they play their fourth end and head into their fourth end break. And on sheet D, we have Kieran Roa taking on Siobhan McGriskin. Both of those teams will not be entering our page playoff and looking to come out of this weekend with great success. They are both tied up 1 point apiece. My name is Evan Asmussen. I am joined by Kaylee Raniseth and Kate Ector. Kaylee, our game has been 4 ends of play, some exciting ends so far. And what are you noticing as some of the key aspects or key matchups here between Team McMillan and Team Wyatt?
Some of the key aspects within the game is just making sure that they're capitalizing on the other team's misses, making sure they're putting the pressure on their opponents, as well as for their own individual team, making sure that they're getting the most out of every single rock. So if there is a missed throw, a miscommunication, making sure that they're talking about it to fix on their next shot, as well as even just making those plan Bs if plan A doesn't go according.
And Kate, we see our teams coming out of their fourth end break with their respective coaches of Tom Kitagawa and Tim Wyatt. What might have occurred during some of those conversations as both of these teams prepare to play the last 4 ends of play? Victoria Greeno, our lead for Team McMillan, throwing her first stone here, trying to get a rock in the free guard zone. It looks like it might just slip into the rings. No worries there. However, Kaylee and Kate, we've been talking a lot about these teams here throughout the week, and that U18s is not only a unique event, but some of these teams and all of these teams play not only U18s, but also have had the opportunity to play either in U15s for some and in the U20 events too as well. Talk to us a little bit about the opportunities that these teams have in our province.
Yeah, so some of these younger teams, if they are in U15s, and that's their actual age, they are able to play up and play against some of these older teams who are in U18s and even up into U20s, kind of gaining their knowledge, a little bit more perspective of the sport, and able to play against some of the better top older teams within our province, as well as the individuals in U18. They are able to play up into U20s, and even you see a lot of U20 teams playing up into actual women's and men's curling, which is an amazing opportunity to learn from some of the best in our province.
So Cassie Walgenbach able to remove that stone that just slipped into the rings by Victoria and keep her shooter at the top of the 12, and Victoria able to throw that corner guard, or sorry, that center line guard as you see it. Now, we did talk about the importance of some of the elements of our game, including the 5-rock rule and the no-tick rule too, as well, as we see that yellow stone on the center line. Kate, we haven't seen it come into play yet, but this is the first time we've seen a center line guard in our game. So how might these teams bring that understanding of the no-tick rule into play as they're trying to generate some points? Kendall Ferguson being asked to make the hit and roll, does make contact with the top stone and is able to move that red rock out of the back of the house and over to the side, kind of cleaning out that scoring area. And a great shot by Kendall Ferguson. So Kate, we saw it in the first end with Team Wyatt really taking advantage of that scoring area or that control zone. And now we see early on in the fifth end, Team McMillan have that control zone kind of to their advantage. Give us a little bit of a walkthrough of what that might mean and how it might play advantageous for both of these teams as they think about coming out of this game, draw number 7, with a win. Kendall Ferguson being asked to draw to the face of that redstone just thrown by Team Wyatt. It does look like that centerline rock is going to come into play. Making a quick plan B. Chaps off of it, but without the hammer here in the fifth end, Team McMillan now has 2 guards up in play, and not a bad result. So with a good draw here, Sophia can really make it difficult for McMillan, and we might have to see McMillan clean up some of the stones that she's been logically and methodically placing throughout the end. So Basello coming up just a little bit short, wicking off that rock at the top of the free guard zone and leaving another guard in play. So McMillan electing to play through this port to the short run back with Charlie McMillan's first stone here. She makes it through the port and hits it right on the nose, runs it straight back and sticks the shooter. An excellent shot by Charlie McMillan. And a wonderful sweep by Kendall Ferguson and Victoria Greenow as Team McMillan sits 1 stone buried behind that cluster of rocks in the free guard zone without the hammer. Quick coaches interaction by Tim Wyatt with Sierra, and it looks like they're going to play through the exact same port. What are some of the potential options here for Team Wyatt?
Well, a big potential is to peel off some of those yellows just to clean up the front a little bit. So either hanging out a little wide, peeling that wide yellow, or even the one that's closer to center line. Either of those would be okay. Or if she does make contact with the run, that's a great option.
So it looks like Basello unable to navigate the port, hitting that wide yellow guard and rolling towards the center, leaving her shooter in line with those 2 yellow stones as McMillan still remains shot stone for the time being. You can see Tom Gidagawa get up out of his chair and raise his hands for his coach's interaction this end. Going to walk through Charlie McMillan as he recognizes that there's an opportunity for a steal here and to maintain the pressure on Team Wyatt. So what are some of the options here, Kaylee, that Tom might be walking Darby through?
Some of the options could be to play more aggressive, drawing in around all of those guards. Another option is to just guard some of those runs that Team Wyatt has available for them. But playing aggressive here, it looks like they are drawing around top 8. You never want to be deep here. Don't want to give them an opportunity to draw again right to it. So making sure that you are either top 12, top 8, or even a guard is okay just to block that run.
So Charlie McMillan looking to draw around, has the right weight, but does catch a little bit of the overcurl, promoting that red guard back towards the center line and rolling her shooter into a corner guard position, but exposing a little bit more of that forefoot now with that small error. So a change of pace here for Team Wyatt, and a precise shot being called out of Sofia Basello. So Walden back with the early pressure clean, calling it as back 4, but it is taking the curl. Line looks nice. They're looking to guide that stone to the face of the yellow. It just chaps off and pushes it to the side of the button, rolling over to the other side of the button. Yellow currently sits shot stone, and that red stone just thrown by Sofia Basello looks to be almost completely buried. So Darby McMillan, just seeing this throw out of Sofia Basello, has an opportunity to get back in on top of that red and potentially sit 2 points, if not close down the scoring area for Team Wyatt. Kate, we talk about tolerance as we watch Darby McMillan with this shot. Where might be the best spot to leave this? And Darby McMillan catching fire here again in end number 5, being able to get the inside flip, push that stone back, and also get that red stone that she just made contact with to roll behind the 8-foot, and maybe a potential catcher if there's any movement coming from Team Wyatt into the 4-foot. Sierra Wyatt, looking to navigate this outside court here and get a rock in good position to utilize with her last stone. Trying to get some extra curl out of it. It looked to be just a little bit too heavy, or maybe a little bit wide of that line, not capturing the curl she needed. Ticks that Yellowstone even further behind coverage and gaining more control of that button. Team McMillan in a great position now to steal one, if not multiple points in the end with a well-placed stone. You can see Charlie standing over there at the edge of the sheet. Darby and Charlie recognizing that this side of the sheet has tons of curl, but also recognizing the tolerance of where they can leave this rock, trying to plug up the hole, make it more difficult for Sierra Wyatt in her last stone. It makes it by the top yellow guard, chips the back red guard, and rolls to the top of the 8. And I think crisis averted, and it does the job. So for the first time in our game here between Team McMillan and Team Wyatt, we see Team McMillan providing a ton of pressure to Team Sierra Wyatt as Wyatt looks to navigate her last stone here in our 5th end of play. So a double attempt here for Sierra Wyatt as she looks to move a ton of yellow granite out of the forefoot. Walgan back on the early straight sweep, trying to make sure that it has a chance to get by that top yellow. It isn't able to get by, but it does spin that yellow rock to the top red. Unable to make anything move off the forefoot. It is a steal of 3 for Team McMillan as they take a 5-3 lead going into the 6th end. A turn of events here in our feature game, and we will head out to our commercials to hear from our sponsors.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline, join the revolution.
Curling Alberta's 50/50 supports grassroots curling with a jackpot of at least $100,000. I know! Brace yourself. Join us aged 18 plus in nurturing these future curling stars. Support grassroots curling with Curling Alberta.
A turn of events here in our feature game as Team McMillan is able to pick up a 3-point steal against Team Wyatt on our feature sheet. The score is 5-3. Wyatt will retain the hammer moving into the 6th end, but this time around being down by 2 points. And this is the first time in our game, Kaylee and Kate, that Team McMillan has had the lead as we see Victoria Greeno throw her first stone just coming across that center line. And we're in for a wild ride and a change of pace for Team Wyatt as they look to now be on the other side of the scoreboard as they once were ahead of Team McMillan. So Kaylee, we did see a small mistake out of Victoria Greeno, just throwing that rock as a corner guard rather than landing it on the center line. And we did see Cassie just touch it. The tick rule doesn't come into effect for corner guards. It's only rocks along the center. But that 5-rock rule that we're so familiar with does definitely add another level of advantage to Team Wyatt as they're looking to narrow that gap that was just created by that steal of 3.
Yeah, it definitely is a big advantage. They are able to get more rocks in play, more guards up before Team McMillan can actually take out any of those guards. Now, if they are in the rings, like you seen Team Wyatt, they were in the rings. McMillan did hit roll behind that corner. So they are still able to hit rocks in the rings, just not when they are in the 3-guard zone.
So Victoria Greeno with a small error on her first guard, but able to make the hit and roll and be partially buried around that corner. And we did just see Cassie make an attempt to move it out from behind the guard and just sneaks by without touching it. And an early advantage here for Team McMillan as we look to frame up this 6th end of play. Kate, we talked about the scoreboard early on in our game and how having those hammers theoretically in the even ends is an advantage for the team with who's able to maintain having the hammers, of course. Now, theoretically, Wyatt should have the hammer 2 times to Team McMillan's. And how might that come into play as they are navigating this 2-point deficit? So Team McMillan asking Kendall Ferguson to throw a guard on that stone that is partially covered by the corner guard. It does still land near the center line, so covering and controlling some of that control zone we talked about too as well in our broadcast. You know what I want to go back to is in that the 5th end, the previous end that we just played, and that timeout called, or that coach's interaction called by Tom Kitagawa with McMillan, and walking Darby and Charlie through that shot. I think that was a key moment in setting up Team McMillan for that steal of 3. So Darby may be playing to her team's strengths here as she recognizes there is that rock at the top of the 8-foot, but electing to throw a draw. And I might be tempted to maybe run one of those yellows in, knowing that you are 2 points up on the scoreboard. What are your thoughts, Kate? Sophia Basello being asked to throw a draw to the top of the 4-foot, get around her own red stone there. Really important here that she does get coverage, whatever the depth may be, and to not leave an opportunity for McMillan to make a double of any sorts and remove those red stones out of play. So just coming up a little bit short, but still in a great position for Team Wyatt as they sit shot stone behind some coverage. McMillan asking Charlie to play, I believe it looks like, to hit what she can see of that red stone. But a run back option also in play too, as well as this rock is over curling the center line. Peels it off and sends that stone into the rings, catching that yellow stone at the top of the 12-foot, removing it out of play, but exposing both of those red stones that are along the center line. And not a bad outcome for Team McMillan, even though they remain without the hammer and not sitting shot stone. So Kaylee, how does Wyatt turn this into a deuce now? Typically we'd see those center line rocks as more advantageous to the team without the hammer. But she is sitting shot stone and she does have a corner guard. So how's she going to turn this around for her team?
Yeah, making sure that her rocks are spaced out. I mean, she is utilizing this corner guard, which is great. She also isn't going to be afraid, I think, to draw around that other wide yellow rock on the left of our screen there as well, just making sure she gets as much separation between those reds. She is now having 3 reds in play in the house right now at this point, so making sure that she's not leaving Team McMillan with any double to kind of help with that deuce opportunity, or even more, a multiple 4.
So Charlie McMillan being asked to clean up that center line and rearrange those reds. It does look like it's catching a little bit of curl again over the center line. She does make contact with the top one, catches the side of that other red stone, pushing it back to the back of the 8-foot behind the corner guard and that combo cluster at the top. And it is red now sitting 2 with Wyatt throwing next. I don't know if they got the outcome they wanted out of that. And one might even say that's how that 5 rock rule really does come back into play for the teams when they're down a few points. So important for Basello here to keep her shooter in the rings as they recognize it is a little bit heavy, hoping it does catch some fresh stuff at the back of the house. It does slide through, but Wyatt still sitting shot stone, 1 and 2 at the top of the 8-foot and the back of the 8-foot, covered behind that corner guard situation. So Darby has saved some ends here. She's been an end saver, and she might have to do that one more time here if she doesn't want to give that 3 right back to Team Wyatt. They put the broom down for the draw. Now, where's the ideal spot for this?
The ideal spot for this is definitely above the tee line, making sure that Team Wyatt can't freeze to it, but also nice buried, tucked around those corner guards is ideal. So if they do need to curl it to finish it a little bit more, to sit back 8, that's okay, as they can get another rock on top.
So looking to get a little bit of last-minute finish as they recognize the weight is good. Greenough and Ferguson on the sweep. Darby McMillan with her first stone here in the 6th end of play and is able to get that stone partially covered to the side of the 4-foot in an excellent team shot by Team McMillan. Potentially an end saver. So we see a coach's interaction by Tim Wyatt at the back of the house, talking to both Basello and Wyatt as she makes her way back down to the hack. He got out of his chair to kind of look at the line, to look at the placement of those stones as where they might be coming from Sierra Wyatt's hack position. And they initially called the chase on this yellow stone to try to chip it off of the top of the 4-foot. But it does look like they had a conversation about maybe playing this yellow-red combo. No harm in having a conversation about it, of course, and looking at all the options. Basello and Wyatt recognizing that their initial call was the one that they favor the most. She will take a look at it from the hack, though, too, as well, as sometimes we notice some of those shots look different from the house versus from the hack, don't they? So first stone here by Sierra Wyatt, trying to make contact with that yellow stone at the top of the 4-foot, just thrown by Darby McMillan. She just chips the top corner guard, moves it over a little bit, and exposes more of the yellow stone, but does take away that combination that she was looking at just previously before putting the before putting the broom down. And McMillan now sitting stone, shot rock, but red sitting second and third shot as they head into a coach's interaction. Now, Kaylee and Kate, for our viewers at home and for those listening in afterwards after the broadcast, we saw Sierra Wyatt take a look after a conversation with Tim Wyatt at 2 different shots. The pick on that yellow stone as we still see it in the 4-foot, and then that yellow-red combination at the top of the 12-foot that was once available a shot before. But for our viewers at home, the hack position in which the thrower throws out of does make a difference in the way that they see. As you would have seen Sierra coming from the left hack, she would have actually seen more of that yellow stone at the top of the yellow versus that out-turn yellow-red combo, as that guard would have taken away a little bit more of that stone, and then from her position in the hack, she would have actually seen less of that yellow stone too as well. So the hack position and where each thrower throws from does come into our shot making too as well.
Yeah, it really does come into play. It takes a lot. You also have to remember that if your opposing team has a lefty, they might see things completely different and you might have to guard a little bit different. So just making sure that, each hack is completely different, and making sure that when you're sitting in the hack, you're actually relaying down to the skip how much you can see so that they know as well how much you have.
So a great guard by Darby McMillan in her final stone of the 6th end. It does not cover the yellow stone completely, but it does take away that same in-turn pick opportunity, and we see Sierra Wyatt electing to draw for her single point. Are you ever tempted to play that out turn through the port and try to chisel that yellow and score your 2 points? So just sliding a little bit heavy as Team McMillan will pick up a single point steal in the 6th end, and they will extend their lead by 6-3 as we head into our 7th end.
Hey Ben, what's the Aztec Safety online e-learning website again?
Yeah, that would be aztecsafety.com.
Fire extinguisher and firefighting, we'll send that one to Paul.
Now here's a course I should probably take. Conflict resolution.
Power line safety. Yeah, I thought it might help me with my line calls. Did you know this Aztec website has over 100 safety courses?
Jeez. Aztec Safety online course. Ground disturbance. Could have used that a few seconds ago.
So we're back for 7th end action of our feature game between Team McMillan and Team Wyatt. Team McMillan able to pick up another steal in our 6th end and to extend their lead 6-3. My name is Evan Asmussen. I'm joined by Kaylee Raniseth and Kate Ector. And there has been a ton of great shot making and a ton of great pressure shots being forced upon one another here in this back and forth game between McMillan and Wyatt. We are keeping a keen eye close across the sheets in the ladies' side here as the page playoff system and standings will be determined after draw number 7, so after this current draw. And I'm going to take our viewers, as they're watching the screen right now, over to sheet B and to sheet C. On sheet B, we have Emma DeSkiffert and Elena Yurko, as they're both in playoff contention. Team Yurko is currently up after 5 ends, 5-2 over Team DeSkiffert. And as we head over to sheet C, we have Team Lila Cooey and Team Abby DeSarmo tied, playing their 6th end. So those are our 4 teams in our page playoff system, in our page playoff process. We're going to find out where they land after this draw. But we take you back to our feature game here, and 2 great shots out of Team McMillan as they're looking to continue to apply the pressure on Team Wyatt. And Cassie Walgan back with her 2nd stone here in the 7th end, trying to get to the face of that yellow stone. You know, that's a great point too as well. even keeping the opposition stones in play, obviously below the tee line so that they can become a barrier for their own stones. But having just moved that stone with a lighter weight may have posed more advantageous, and thinking those few rocks ahead, hey? So Cassie Walden back with her third stone here. Of course, our front end players on Team Wyatt are able to throw 3 stones, and Sierra Wyatt throwing her 2 regular stones as they are down to 3 players, missing Kiera Buckland in the lineup. Makes a wonderful hit and roll, but the McMillan stone still shot. However, that red stone is frozen to the face of it. So, you know, Kate, I have to admit that I think I gave Team McMillan a little bit of a tough time just watching those first 2 ends and a couple of the ways that they were missing. But we know from our broadcast and our time together the other day that Team McMillan is definitely a team that is able to scoop up information very quickly and be able to turn it around for themselves. And it looks like they've really done that here towards the later part of the game. And Kaylee, if anything, that's a takeaway for Team McMillan too as well. When we're trying to look for small successes, if it's not coming in our standings after the round robin, we can look within the games and look within our own team to try to find those positives. And I think Team McMillan would be really happy with having that comment towards their team.
Oh yeah, 100%. The ability for them to battle back, stay strong, be more precise on their shot making, that would be a great takeaway for them, and to learn from it as well, to always stay in the game no matter what.
So Team Wyatt being able to, after a few rocks, chisel those yellow rocks thrown by Team McMillan around, maintain some coverage, and they are sitting 2 red stones in the rings. Although yellow is second and third shot, there is some potential building for Team Wyatt as they find themselves 3 down playing 7. So big sweep out of Kendall Ferguson to get that Charlie McMillan stone off of the red. Maybe just a little bit heavy or a little bit wide of the broom. It chisels off that corner guard and actually misses everything in the rings, finding its way at the back of the house, or at the, I guess, through the rings. And Team Wyatt with an opportunity to move some stones around. So contact made with that top yellow stone at the top of the 8, unfortunately not able to hold their shooter. And that was something that we just mentioned too as well, that was going to be really important for Wyatt if they want to find themselves playing to the last, and is keeping those shooter rocks or their thrown rocks in the rings. So I'm thinking Tom Kitagawa, is recognizing that if Darby decides to chase this red stone, that there is a jam possibility at the back of the rings. So Charlie McMillan looking to clean up some red granite here with her final stone in the 7th end. Sweepers on it early. Just having a missed view of it, but it just misses the red stone and makes its way through the port. And the house remains unchanged as Team Wyatt goes to throw. So by hitting this yellow stone, it does bring that red rock into play. But is 3 going to be enough? Basello making contact with that back yellow rock, but unable again to hold their shooter. And so McMillan will have another attempt at this double, or to remove some red rocks out of play. And it looks like she's changing turns here. So Darby deciding to play her out turn versus the in turn that she did have Charlie throw. And an advantage with playing this turn is that when she makes contact with that top red stone that you see just biting the 12-foot, her thrown rock is going to have a little bit more momentum and a sharper angle coming off of it. And more momentum with rotation that'll allow it to spin down, and she just catches it here and hits that rock, unable to remove it, but push it deeper into the rings and rolls her yellow rock just partially buried by the red stone. So Team Wyatt taking a lot of ice here, recognizing that this side of the sheet does curl quite a bit more than the other side of the sheet, or coming across from the center line. They are sitting 1 rock at the back of the 4-foot, not in an ideal position, but still they are sitting shot zone, so they will be looking to get fully buried as they're trying to generate at least a deuce, if not 3 points on the scoreboard. They're really going to have to get this rock to curl. Wyatt getting up for the sweep. Does look like it is a little bit light as they're trying to get as much as they can out of the stone. Getting to a piece of the house would be ideal. And it does look like it maybe is just a little bit short, but McMillan is going to take a look at it just to clarify. So Kaylee, I'm not sure of the call here. It looks like she's taking a ton of ice, but maybe some kind of draw weight attempt.
Yeah, it looks like she is trying to draw around, probably freezing onto that stone, touching the button on forefoot, trying to eliminate or cut down the scoring area at least, wanting to make sure that she doesn't rub off that front red that is not quite in the house, just so that she doesn't set up a double opportunity for 3 for Team Wyatt. So probably taking lots of ice to make sure that she's by lots of room and just sitting in there getting another yellow rock in play.
Last rock for Darby McMillan in the 7th end as she looks to cut down the scoring area and to put some pressure on Team Wyatt as they're down by 3. So recognizing it's a little bit heavy, trying to get some curl out of it, not only to get it to slow down a little bit, but to catch a little bit of that red stone at the back of the 4. It goes by everything. And Team Wyatt looking to see if that red rock is touching the top of the 12-foot. Now, nonetheless, they are going to have to try to hang multiple points up on the board. If we get a closer look at it, I'm not sure if we can just see, but we can see the top of the 12-foot there on our view as you see it. So maybe just out of the rings. I agree with you. I think that would be a really great option because you never know if those rings are going to be out or if the button hole is drilled just a little bit inaccurately. But of course, these teams would have tested all of that at the start of their event, and the coaches would have checked the rings just to see where that button hole is. And it looks as a team, and after an interaction, they've made the decision that that rock probably is out. And so they're going to draw in for their single point. And again, Kaylee too as well, you talked about that redstone coming into play and not to rub it. And Team Wyatt is going to need to make sure that they also don't rub their redstone, as they might not be able to get the momentum coming off of it to score that second point.
Yeah, exactly. Here you can take lots of ice to make sure that you are by those yellow or that red just out of the house. You don't have anything. This is a curly side, so you don't have anything to worry about with it not curling. And it looks like they did manage it really great, and it drew right in there.
Wonderful shot by Sierra Wyatt, and 2 points go up on the board. The score is narrowed 6-5 for McMillan. McMillan will have the hammer in our last end of play.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
So you're a pizza person, but you're married to a wing person, and your kids are salad people? You can't pick your fam, but with over 50 menu items to choose from, you can make them all happy. Order today and enjoy Boston Pizza at home.
We are in 8th end action here, our final end of our feature game. As it sits right now, we're featuring Team McMillan and Team Wyatt, as McMillan has a 1-point advantage with the hammer playing our 8th end. My name is Evan Asmussen. I'm joined by Kaylee, Raniseth, and Kate Ector at Draw 7, our Sunday and last round robin draw of the 2025 Curling Alberta Optimist U18 Provincial Championship in Leduc, Alberta, brought to you by Curling Stadium. The game isn't over. We have seen that both teams have been able to generate steals at certain points in the game, and we are going to need to see Wyatt trying to craft one up here against Team McMillan if she wants to take this to an extra end, if not win this final game. So Kate, our game has been all about momentum, and as it's unfolded now, hindsight is always 20/20. If we look back across the ends, we have seen Team McMillan become a force in just gaining momentum end after end after end, and it has shown so far, hasn't it? Two excellent shots coming out of Cassie Walgan back with her first 2 stones here as Wyatt's trying to generate a steal of at least 1 point. And we're going to see Victoria now try to get her second stone into the control zone. Now it did just rub that red stone, and these teams now that red stone may have been off the center line, but I'm not 100% sure. Does look like they're going to ignore it as a tick, but very questionable if that did rub the red stone off the center line. Nonetheless, they've decided that it wasn't touching, and Team Wyatt is asking Cassie Walgan back to draw around all of those stones along the center line. And that stone by Victoria coming up a little bit light does kind of act as a guard for Team Wyatt, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. With it only being in the top 12, there's lots of room for Team Wyatt to get around it, bury it, and force Team McMillan into some tough shots, some tough run backs.
So Cassie Walgan back just coming up a little bit light and ticking that red stone back under coverage and onto the center line, but does leave a stone just short of the rings that could be used later. And McMillan recognizing that that red stone just thrown by Cassie might have some potential to cause damage later on in the end. So Kendall Ferguson being asked to hit and stick this stone and exchange rocks with this red one, having a little bit of control of that outside portion of the ring. She does roll her shooter away, but does leave 2 yellow stones of Team McMillan in the top of the rings. Sophia Basello being asked to draw to the top of the forefoot. Kaylee and Kate, we talked in our last broadcast about some of the similarities and differences between our U18 men's play and our U18 women's play. And we have to recognize that our athletes, though they are incredible and they can make a ton of shots, that shot selection is super important. And you've been noticing some differences between the strategy and between some of the shot selection between the two fields. Talk to us a little bit about that as we see some of these centerline guards start to build up for Team Wyatt. And I love that you mentioned that too, that the shot selection has been very advantageous for both teams as they recognize the skill set of all of their players on the sheet. if you are live and in action, or if you did want to head down to the Leduc Curling Center to take a look, you will notice, of course, like Kate and Kaylee mentioned about the boys' teams may have started to peel that a little bit earlier, but nonetheless, these shots have been very logical for these teams as they are developing athletes and as they're working on their skill sets. And it's very apparent that Darby McMillan and Sierra Wyatt know the strengths of their teams and how to manage those stones accordingly. So a little bit of a rearrangement along the center line. Wyatt able to hold on to that shot that was thrown by Basello at the top of the forefoot. Looking to find some coverage with a good guard. And a beautiful pair by Basello as they look to try to generate a steal and apply some pressure for Darby McMillan as we head into the final few stones of this end. So Charlie McMillan with the run back attempt does look a little bit narrow, but does open up that red stone at the top of the four. Her shooter sliding just slightly over the center line and stopping there, building up those center line guards again. And Wyatt still in a stealing position. Sophia getting up out of her delivery to come and help Cassie Walgan back as they're trying to get as much curl as they can out of this stone to cover that rock on the side of the forefoot. Well executed. So they may have touched that red stone a little bit. Walgan back while sweeping, moving it just to the left of the center line as we see it. And of course, as the offending team, McMillan does get to go up and give her insight as to where that stone might be. And to be honest, that does matter in this situation, as we do see that yellow-yellow combo as potentially being an option to remove that red stone out of play. So Kaylee, if you're Tom Kitagawa here having a conversation with Darby and the coaches' interaction, what are you walking through? Are you just walking through this shot, or are you also giving some feedback for the next, as this is the only interaction for the end?
Yeah, you're definitely giving a lot of insight for this shot coming up, but you are for sure also getting info for your team for the next few shots and how you kind of see the next shots coming out, as this is your only interaction. You're not sure if the other coach is going to call their interaction, so you want to give your team as much information as possible when you do call these coaches' interactions.
Kate, what are we looking for here out of Team McMillan that will help them secure the win? Charlie McMillan with her last stone here in the eighth end of play, looking to draw to the top of the forefoot, It does look like it's a little bit light, catches some of that early curl, maybe a soft release on that, but definitely quite a bit lighter than what Darby would have expected, and congests that guard situation. And I don't want to be too critical. Of course, I try to be as kind as possible, but and we're not out on the sheet too as well, Kaylee and Kate, and we're not seeing everything like these players and these coaches are, but I might have made a different decision there. So Sierra Wyatt with her first stone here in the 8th end, looking to hold on to that steal opportunity at the side of the forefoot, but to also put another rock into play and try to steal away the win. It looks like she's able to put the broom down after seeing Charlie McMillan's first throw there and make an adjustment to try to make this shot as good as it can be. They are electing to guard that port and take it away from Team McMillan. And I wonder if that was also a missed opportunity by Team Wyatt to get another rock into the button. So with that rock just thrown by Team Wyatt, that port is closed up, but it looks like Darby recognizes that the sheet has a ton of curl out in this direction, and I mean, it's tough to say if she's playing the tap on the yellow or if she is going to try to curl right past that guard just thrown by Wyatt and come through that port again, and it might just be there. So of course, giving up a steal here is not the end of the world for Team McMillan. They just don't want it to be any more than that. They are playing this tap, draw, tap, whatever the call may have been. They nose that yellow stone and just roll a little bit closer to that red stone. And it is Team Wyatt sitting first and second shot, with that red stone just out counting the yellow stone and the 12-foot, as we see a coach's interaction coming out of Team Wyatt. Kaylee, I don't get too jazzed up for curling as much as I am right now, and licking my lips, looking at this out-turn draw to the top of my red, if I was Team Wyatt.
Yeah, that's definitely an option. You'll probably see the coach talking about that and other shots, probably the ice conditions as well. If they don't know that path, they might opt on another one, but that looks really great and forces McMillan to look at a tough shot for her last to even score.
So it looks like the conversation resulted in the nail in the coffin shot here, as they are looking to put some extreme pressure. Now, Basello is standing over to the side, but also way up in the rings. And sometimes that gestures that maybe this is going to actually be a guard, because we cannot hear our players and coaches. They're not mic'd up. But usually that gesture shows that this might actually be a guard attempt to take away that draw and to limit Wyatt to just a single point, making that force steal by Team McMillan a little bit more challenging, but we will see. She's making her way back to the rings. Sierra Wyatt with her final stone in the 8th end, looking to steal away the win, if not steal it into an extra end, trying to put this stone in the top of the rings. It is a little bit heavy. It does come to the side of the 4-foot, partially buried, but leaving Team Wyatt sitting 3 and the steal as it lies. And I guess that was always a consequence of playing that outside draw, is that you could be leaving this yellow combo up the center line into the 4-foot. It looks the most natural. And I'm not sure if Darby putting this broom here is recognizing how much curl that side has, or if she sees something else. So she is moving 2 rocks here. She is playing this tap through the port, though it looks like they're having a conversation as Darby meets Ferguson and Greenhow at the other end. But she is going to have to move some granite if she is promoting those 2 yellows, so it is going to take a little bit of speed coming out of the hack for this shot to be made. Darby McMillan just asking for a little bit less ice, probably recognizing that she is going to throw it a little bit harder than she anticipated when she was down at the house. Final stone for Team McMillan here in our last draw of play of the 2025 Curling Alberta Optimist U18 Provincial Championship, looking to promote one of these yellows up to the 4-foot. It has over-curled for the time, and it will not change the situation in the rings. It is a steal of 3 for Team Wyatt, as it will go up as 8-6 on our scoreboard. Team Wyatt coming away with the win over Team McMillan. I thank you so much on behalf of Curling Alberta, myself, Kaylee, and Kate, as we bring you commentary, and our page playoff is set. We will see you this evening if you are tuning in for the page playoff here in Leduc, Alberta. You are watching through Curling Stadium. Have a lovely evening. Stay warm, and we will see you again on the air. Take care and be well, my friends.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardlines Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
So you're a pizza person, but you're married to a wing person, and your kids are salad people? You can't pick your fam, but with over 50 menu items to choose from, you can make them all happy. Order today and enjoy Boston pizza at home.
Curling Alberta's 50-50 supports grassroots curling with a jackpot of at least $100,000. I know! Brace yourself. Join us aged 18 plus in nurturing these future curling stars. Support grassroots curling with Curling Alberta.